Welcome to Monk's Moon Temple. Let us simply arrive here. Take one conscious breath. Feel the air enter your body. Feel it leave. In this single breath, you are connected to every human being who has ever sought peace. We all breathe. We all struggle. And we all share the same challenge, the words that leave our mouths. Today we explore something that shapes your entire reality. Something you do thousands of times daily without thinking. Something that can build a life of peace or create a prison of regret. I am talking about your speech. The words you speak to others and the words you speak to yourself. In the Buddhist tradition, a science of the mind developed over 2,600 years, there is a teaching about 4 types of speech that act as poisons. Not poisons that kill the body, but poisons that slowly destroy the peace of the mind. The Buddha called them the 4 unwholesome speeches. You do not need to be Buddhist to understand them. You only need to be human. You only need to have ever suffered because of something someone said, or regretted something you yourself have said. Think of your mind as a room. A quiet room. For most of us, this room is crowded with echoes of old conversations, worries about future conversations, judgments about ourselves and others. Every word you speak opens the door of that room and invites something inside. Kind words invite warmth. Cruel words invite storms. The person who must live in that room is you. The Buddha understood what modern psychology now confirms. Speech is not just communication. It is self-creation. Every lie makes you more of a liar. Every kind word makes you more of a kind person. Your words carve pathways in your brain. You sculpt your own character with every syllable. Let me tell you a story about Margaret. Margaret was a nurse in a pediatric oncology ward. Every day she held the hands of terrified parents. She comforted children fighting for their lives. She was, by all accounts, a saint. But Margaret had a secret. Every evening she called her sister and vented. She criticized doctors. She judged parents. She complained about lazy nurses. She never said these things to anyone's face, but behind their backs, she tore them apart. Over time, Margaret noticed something strange. She felt worse after these calls, not better. The venting, which she thought released pressure, actually built it. She would go to work and see the doctor she had criticized, and instead of seeing a human doing his best, she saw the villain she had created. She was trapped in a prison built word by word. This is the first lesson. Unwholesome speech always comes back to you. Your words are like a boomerang. No matter how far you throw them, they return to strike you. Not as punishment, but as a natural law of the mind. What you dwell on, you become. What you speak, you strengthen. If this exploration resonates, please consider subscribing to Monk's Moon Temple. A simple click tells us this work matters. Just click the button below. Now we begin with divisive speech. Divisive speech uses words to create distance between people. It is the whispered confidence. The carefully chosen word that casts doubt on someone's character. The story just true enough to be believable but just twisted enough to cause harm. In Buddhist teachings, it is compared to sawing through the trunk of a tree. The tree is a relationship. The saw is your tongue. Why do we do this? 2 roots. The first is jealousy. When we see happy people, their connection highlights our loneliness. Without realizing, we might say something that cracks their foundation. I saw your friend with someone else. I am sure it is nothing. We plant doubt. We feel a flicker of power. But it is like drinking salt water to quench thirst. It only makes it worse. The second root is anger. Someone hurts us, and instead of speaking to them directly, we speak to others. We build a coalition. We tell our story, carefully crafted to make us the victim. But every time we tell that story, we deepen our wound. We rehearse our victimhood. We make the anger stronger. Here is another story. Two brothers, Samuel and Thomas, inherited a small bakery. Samuel baked. Thomas handled accounts. They worked in harmony until Thomas made a mistake. He ordered poor flour. The bread suffered. Samuel mentioned it, and Thomas, feeling defensive, snapped back. A small crack appeared. That night, Thomas went to a bar and started talking. He told local shopkeepers about Samuel, how ungrateful he was, how impossible. The next day, a shopkeeper mentioned to Samuel, I hear things are tough between you and your brother. Samuel felt betrayed. The crack became a chasm. The bakery became cold and silent. The tragedy was built entirely on words. Thomas spoke about his brother instead of to his brother. Those words, once spoken, could never be unspoken. They hung like fog, obscuring decades of love. This is the karma of divisive speech. It is the karma of loneliness. When you use words to separate others, you separate yourself. People may listen, but they will not trust you. Deep down, they know that if you speak this way about others, you will one day speak this way about them. You become interesting but unsafe. You become someone people keep at a distance. That distance becomes a wall that keeps you isolated. Divisive speech is like throwing stones into a still pond. You watch ripples spread and feel powerful. But the stones sink to the bottom of your own pond, creating mud that clouds your own waters. The peace you disturb in others is your own peace you disturb. This is why mindful speech matters. It is about protecting your own mind. Every time you resist divisive speech, you preserve your own inner peace. You keep your own waters clear. So reflect. Is there anyone you speak about instead of to? Is there a relationship clouded by words you have spoken to others? It is never too late to change. The path begins with awareness. With noticing. With the willingness to choose differently, starting now. Let us take a moment to arrive again. Another breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Feel the stillness beneath the movement. In our first time together, we explored divisive speech, the words that separate people and create distance where connection once lived. Today we turn to another unwholesome speech, one that cuts even deeper because it strikes directly at the heart of another person. We turn to harsh speech. Harsh speech is any word spoken with the intention to wound. It is name-calling, belittling, criticizing with cruelty, shouting in anger, using sarcasm as a weapon. It is the voice that says, "You never get anything right." It is the words that follow, "What is wrong with you?" It is the silent treatment, which is its own kind of harshness, words withheld as punishment. We have all been on the receiving end of harsh speech. We know how it feels. A harsh word lands like a slap. It echoes in the mind for years. A cruel nickname from childhood can still sting decades later. A critical comment from a parent can shape an entire life. Words have that power. They wound the psyche in ways physical wounds often cannot. A broken bone heals. A broken spirit can take a lifetime to mend. And yet, when we are the ones speaking harshly, we always have justifications. I was just telling the truth. They needed to hear it. I was angry and they deserved it. We dress our cruelty in the clothes of honesty. But the Buddha asks us to look deeper, at the intention behind the words. Was the intention to help or to harm? Was it to build up or to tear down? Let me tell you a story about a man named Arthur and his son Leo. Arthur was an engineer. He loved structure, logic, tangible results. Leo was an artist. He loved to draw, to paint, to lose himself in worlds of imagination. Arthur worried about Leo. He feared his son was too soft for the world. One evening, Arthur came home to find Leo at the kitchen table, surrounded by sketchbooks. He had spent the entire weekend working on a large painting for his art class. He was proud. He looked up at his father with a hopeful smile. "Dad, look what I made." Arthur walked over and looked at the painting. It was abstract, full of color and emotion. He did not understand it. A wave of fear for his son's future washed over him. Instead of seeing his son's passion and effort, he saw struggle and uncertainty. He opened his mouth and out came his fear dressed as harsh words. "What is this mess? When will you spend your time on something useful? This will not get you a job. Get your head out of the clouds." Leo's face fell. The light in his eyes dimmed. He gathered his painting and walked silently to his room. Arthur felt a pang of regret, but told himself it was tough love. But it was not love. It was fear weaponized. Arthur's words were a harsh wind trying to blow out a small flame. It might take years for that flame to rekindle. The karma of harsh speech is that it severs connection. In that moment, Arthur lost a moment with his son he would never get back. He taught Leo that his deepest passions were shameful. He built a wall between them with every harsh word. The person who suffers most from harsh speech is the one who speaks it. Why? Because it becomes a habit. It hardens the heart. It is like practicing an instrument. If you practice the violin every day, you get better at violin. If you practice harshness every day, you get better at being harsh. The neural pathways for criticism become highways, while pathways for patience become overgrown. You become a person for whom anger is the first response. Here is another story. A woman named Patricia worked at a busy call center. Her job was to handle complaints. Day after day, she listened to angry customers. She learned to be quick, sharp, defensive. She brought that sharpness home. She snapped at her husband for small things. She criticized her children for normal mistakes. She told herself she was just stressed, that work was hard. But the harshness was becoming her. Her family began to walk on eggshells around her. They loved her, but they did not like being near her. Her home, which should have been her refuge, became another battlefield. One day, her youngest daughter left her a drawing on the kitchen table. It showed two stick figures holding hands with a third figure standing alone in the corner. The alone figure had "Mom" written above it. Patricia stared at that drawing for a long time. She realized her harsh speech had built walls she did not even see. She was standing alone in the corner of her own family, and she had put herself there one sharp word at a time. The Buddha taught that harsh speech is like digging a hole with a sharp tool. Every harsh word digs the hole deeper. Eventually, you are standing at the bottom looking up at a world you can no longer reach. The people you love are up there, but the hole is too deep to climb out alone. There is a beautiful alternative. Gentle speech. Words spoken with kindness, even when delivering difficult truths. You can say, "I am worried about you," instead of, "You are ruining your life." You can say, "I feel hurt when that happens," instead of, "You are so insensitive." The difference is not in the information being conveyed. The difference is in the intention. One builds a bridge. The other digs a hole. The next time you feel harsh words rising in your throat, pause. Just pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, do I want to build a bridge or dig a hole? Do I want to connect or to wound? The pause is where freedom lives. In that tiny space between feeling and speaking, you have a choice. And in that choice, you shape not only your relationships but yourself. Let us arrive together once more. Another breath. Feel the quiet spaces between the breaths, the stillness that is always there beneath the noise of the mind. In our time together, we have explored divisive speech that separates and harsh speech that wounds. Today we turn to something that may seem harmless but is perhaps the most deceptive of all the unwholesome speeches. We turn to idle chatter. When the Buddha spoke of idle chatter, he used a word that means senseless talk, speaking at the wrong time, words that have no purpose and no depth. This teaching is not about laughter or light conversation with friends. Connection and joy are essential to a healthy life. The teaching is about speech that becomes an escape, a distraction, a way to avoid being present with ourselves and with others. Think about the conversations you have in a single day. Really think about them. How much of what you say is truly meaningful? How much is simply filling space? We talk about the weather, about what someone said on a television show, about a sale at the grocery store, about a celebrity we will never meet. There is nothing inherently wrong with these topics. But if your entire life becomes a string of such superficial exchanges, your mind becomes superficial too. The instrument of your awareness, which is capable of profound insight, is instead used only for trivialities. Idle chatter is often an escape. We talk to avoid being alone with ourselves. We talk to avoid the uncomfortable silence where we might actually have to feel our feelings. We scroll through our phones and share meaningless updates to feel connected, but it is a hollow connection. It is like chewing gum to trick your stomach into thinking it is being fed. You get the motion of eating but none of the nourishment. Your mouth moves, your tongue flaps, but your soul remains hungry. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Elena. Elena was a successful lawyer in a busy city. She was brilliant, articulate, always the center of attention at parties and gatherings. She could talk about anything, politics, current events, the latest restaurant opening. Her life was a constant whirlwind of words. But late at night, when she finally got home and the silence descended, she felt a profound emptiness. She felt disconnected from herself. She did not know what she actually felt, because she spent all her time talking about what she thought. One year, feeling exhausted and empty, she decided to do something drastic. She signed up for a silent meditation retreat. 10 days without speaking. 10 days of silence. The first few days were agony. Her mind raced like a caged animal. She rehearsed conversations she would have when she got out. She mentally commented on everything around her, the food, the other participants, the uncomfortable meditation cushion. The silence felt like pressure in her ears. But around day 4, something shifted. The internal chatter began to quiet. In the silence, she started noticing things she had never noticed before. The incredible complexity of a single breath. The subtle sensations in her body, a tightness in her shoulder she had not realized was always there. The beauty of light changing on the floor as the afternoon passed. She started feeling her emotions directly instead of just talking about them. She felt a deep sadness she had been covering with witty remarks for years. She felt gratitude for small kindnesses she had overlooked. By the end of the retreat, she was not afraid of silence anymore. She had found a richness within it that all her words had been hiding. When she returned to her normal life, she was different. She spoke less, but when she spoke, her words had more weight. She listened more deeply to others. She realized her old idle chatter was a defense mechanism, a way to keep the world and herself at arm's length. She had been so busy talking that she forgot how to simply be. Here is another story. 2 neighbors, Richard and James, lived next door to each other for 15 years. Every morning, they would stand by their mailboxes and talk for 20 minutes. They discussed lawn care, local sports teams, the rising cost of groceries, the noise from the construction down the street. They knew everything about each other's schedules and nothing about each other's lives. Richard never knew that James had lost his wife to cancer 5 years ago and still ate dinner alone every night, setting a place for her out of habit. James never knew that Richard's son had stopped speaking to him a decade ago and the silence between them was a daily wound that never healed. They filled every conversation with words about nothing. The words became a comfortable wall between them, a wall that prevented any real connection. They were neighbors for 15 years and never once had a meaningful conversation because idle chatter occupied all the available space. The tragedy is not that they were strangers. The tragedy is that they thought they were friends. The Buddha taught that idle chatter scatters the mind. It is like throwing a handful of seeds into a strong wind. Some land here, some there, most are lost forever. A mind filled with idle chatter cannot focus, cannot settle, cannot find peace. It jumps from topic to topic, never landing anywhere long enough to understand anything deeply. It becomes like a monkey swinging from branch to branch, never resting, never still. The alternative is mindful speech. Speaking with purpose. Speaking when you have something to say that adds value, that expresses genuine feeling, that deepens connection. And equally important, learning to cherish silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is full. It is full of presence, of awareness, of the subtle textures of life that words can never capture. In silence, you can hear your own heart. In silence, you can truly meet another person, not through words, but through presence. Try this today. Find just 5 minutes of silence. No phone. No conversation. No music. Just sit and listen to the silence. Notice what arises. Notice how uncomfortable it might feel at first. Notice how the mind tries desperately to fill it with noise. Just watch without judgment. In that silence, you might meet yourself for the very first time. Let us settle in once more. Another breath. Feel the ground beneath you, holding you without effort. The air around you, touching your skin. The simple miracle of being alive in this moment. We have explored 3 unwholesome speeches so far: divisive speech that separates, harsh speech that wounds, and idle chatter that distracts. Today we come to the first one, the foundation upon which so many other unskillful acts are built. We come to lying. When the Buddha spoke of lying, he meant any intentional falsehood, large or small. The dramatic lies that change lives, certainly, but also the small ones, the white lies, the exaggerations, the half-truths, the silent lies of omission. He taught that a truthful person lives with a kind of freedom that a liar can never know. Why? Because truthfulness creates integrity. It creates a self that is solid, reliable, at peace. Think about what happens when you lie. Even a small lie. Even a lie told to spare someone's feelings or to make yourself look better. Immediately, you must remember what you said. You must keep track of who knows what. You must maintain the fiction. This takes energy, mental energy that could be used for creativity, for love, for presence. The lie creates a small crack in your consciousness, and through that crack, anxiety seeps in. Let me tell you a story about a man named David. David was a talented graphic designer in a bustling city. He was good at his job, but he always felt one step behind his more confident colleagues. One day, his dream job opened at a top design firm. The position required proficiency in a specific animation software. David had dabbled in it, but he was far from proficient. In the interview, when asked about his skills, a small panicked voice inside said, "Just say you know it. You can learn on the job. Everyone does it." So he smiled confidently and said, "Yes, I am very comfortable with that software." He got the job. The first week was a honeymoon. The second week, the first real project landed on his desk. It required extensive use of that software. David went home that night and stared at his computer screen, the cursor blinking mockingly at him. He opened the software and felt a wave of nausea. He was completely lost. He spent the next few nights in a state of high anxiety, watching YouTube tutorials at 2 a.m., drinking too much coffee, snapping at his partner. The pressure was immense. He lived in constant fear of being discovered, exposed as a fraud. The trust his new boss had placed in him, he had taken a loan against it with a lie, and now the debt was due. The work he produced was slow, hesitant, lacking creativity, because all his creative energy was funneled into maintaining the deception. He could not ask for help, because to ask for help would be to admit he lied. He was trapped in a cage of his own making. This is the karma of lying. The punishment is not lightning from the sky. The punishment is the cage itself. The constant low-level hum of anxiety in the background of your mind. The erosion of self-respect. The knowledge that your success is built on sand. David's lie did not just destroy his boss's potential trust. It destroyed his own trust in himself. He began seeing himself as a fraud, and when you see yourself that way, your whole world shrinks. You walk carefully, afraid of every step, because the ground might give way at any moment. Here is another story. A woman named Claire was known among her friends as someone who always had exciting stories. She had traveled the world, met famous people, had incredible adventures. Her stories were the highlight of every gathering. But over time, her friends noticed inconsistencies. A story about Paris one year became a story about Rome the next. The famous person she met seemed to change depending on who was listening. They began comparing notes. They realized many of her stories were exaggerated or completely invented. Nothing terrible happened. No dramatic confrontation. But something shifted. When Claire spoke, her friends listened differently. They listened with skepticism instead of wonder. They smiled and nodded, but in their hearts, they were no longer present with her. They were fact-checking. The connection, the genuine warmth of friendship, was replaced by polite distance. Claire had traded truth for attention and ended up with neither. Her lies bought her moments of admiration but cost her the deep trust that makes friendship real. The Buddha taught that a person who is truthful has nothing to fear. They walk through the world with a light step. Their yes means yes, and their no means no. Their word has power. When they speak, people listen, not because they are loud, but because they are reliable. Truthfulness is the foundation of integrity. It is the source of inner strength. Think of truthfulness as a muscle. It grows stronger with use. Every time you tell the truth, especially when it is difficult, especially when a lie would be easier, you strengthen that muscle. You become more yourself. You become someone who can be trusted, by others and by yourself. And self-trust, the knowledge that you are reliable, that you mean what you say, that is the bedrock of a peaceful mind. There is a beautiful practice you can try. For one day, tell only the truth. No exaggerations. No omissions. No small lies to smooth things over. Just truth. Notice how it feels. Notice the freedom in not having to remember what you said. Notice the clarity in your interactions. Notice the peace that comes from alignment between your inner reality and your outer words. This alignment, this harmony between what is and what is said, is a form of meditation. It is living your practice instead of just thinking about it. Let us arrive together. Another breath. Feel the simplicity of this moment. Just breathing. Just being. We have explored each of the 4 unwholesome speeches individually, like examining 4 different poisons in small bottles. Now we step back and look at the larger picture. We look at what ties them all together. We look at intention. The Buddha taught that the most important element in any action, including speech, is the intention behind it. 2 people can say the exact same words, but if their intentions are different, the karma created is completely different. Words are just sounds, vibrations in the air. What gives them power is the mind that sends them forth. Think of intention as the wind that fills a sail. The same sail, the same boat, but a wind blowing east takes you to one destination, while a wind blowing west takes you to another. Your words are the boat. Your intention is the wind. Where are you going with your speech? Let me tell you a story about 2 teachers. Both taught at the same school. Both had students who struggled. One teacher, whose name was Mrs. Albright, would say to her struggling students, "You can do better than this. I have seen your potential, and this work does not reflect it." The other teacher, Mr. Peterson, would say to his struggling students, "You can do better than this. This is not good enough." The words are almost identical. You can do better than this. But every student who heard Mrs. Albright felt inspired. They felt seen. They worked harder. Every student who heard Mr. Peterson felt criticized. They felt judged. They shut down. Same words, completely different intentions. Mrs. Albright spoke from a place of genuine care and belief in her students. Mr. Peterson spoke from frustration and his own need for control. The words were the same. The wind filling them was different. And the destination, the effect on the students, was worlds apart. This is why examining your intention before you speak is so essential. Not just examining your words, but examining the wind behind them. Ask yourself, before you open your mouth, what is my intention right now? Do I want to help or to harm? Do I want to connect or to separate? Do I want to give or to take? If you can answer these questions honestly, you will catch most unwholesome speech before it leaves your mouth. Here is another story. A young monk once came to his teacher and said, "I am struggling with my thoughts during meditation. They will not stop." The teacher said, "Tell me about your day." The young monk described his routine, waking, chanting, begging for food, eating, meditating, studying, sleeping. The teacher asked, "And when you speak with the other monks, what do you talk about?" The young monk thought for a moment. "We talk about the food we received. We talk about who was generous and who was not. We talk about the villagers and their problems. We talk about the weather." The teacher nodded. "Your mind is like a field. All day long, you scatter seeds in it. You scatter seeds of judgment about the food. Seeds of gossip about the villagers. Seeds of complaint about the weather. Then you sit to meditate and wonder why the field is full of weeds. The thoughts in meditation are just the plants growing from the seeds you planted with your speech throughout the day." This is a profound insight. Your speech is not separate from your mind. Your speech is your mind externalized. Every word you speak plants a seed in your own consciousness. If you spend your day in divisive speech, your mind becomes a field of division. If you spend your day in harsh speech, your mind becomes a field of anger. If you spend your day in idle chatter, your mind becomes a field of distraction. If you spend your day in lies, your mind becomes a field of confusion. You cannot plant weeds all day and expect flowers to grow in meditation. But the reverse is also true. If you spend your day in truthful speech, your mind becomes clear. If you spend your day in gentle speech, your mind becomes calm. If you spend your day in speech that unites, your mind becomes peaceful. If you spend your day in meaningful speech, your mind becomes focused. Your meditation practice does not begin when you sit on a cushion. It begins the moment you wake up and open your mouth. Let me tell you about a woman named Grace. Grace was a hospice nurse. She spent her days with people who were dying. She noticed something over the years. When she sat with patients in their final hours, they rarely talked about their achievements or their possessions. They talked about moments of connection. They talked about words they wished they had said and words they wished they had not said. They talked about a harsh word spoken to a child 40 years ago that still echoed in their hearts. They talked about a kind word from a stranger that had stayed with them their entire lives. Grace learned from the dying that our words matter far more than we realize while we are busy living. She began to change how she spoke. She told her husband she loved him every morning, even when they were irritated with each other. She told her children she was proud of them, not just for achievements but for trying. She apologized quickly when she spoke harshly. She stopped gossiping with colleagues, even though it made some conversations awkward at first. Years later, when Grace herself was diagnosed with a terminal illness, she faced it with a kind of peace that surprised even her. She had no regrets about her words. She had said what needed to be said. She had made her love known. She had cleaned up her messes. When the end came, she was not haunted by echoes of unkind speech. She was surrounded by the warmth of words spoken well. This is the gift of mindful speech. It is not just for others. It is for you. It is for the person you will be on your last day, looking back at the life you lived and the words you spoke. Will you see a field of weeds or a garden of flowers? The answer is being written right now, with every word you speak. Let us settle in. Another breath. Feel the weight of your body, the space around you, the simple fact of your existence in this moment. We have explored the 4 unwholesome speeches and the power of intention behind them. Now we turn to something practical. How do we actually change? How do we transform our speech when it has been running on autopilot for years, maybe decades? The Buddha did not just point out problems. He offered solutions. He offered a path. And the first step on that path is always the same. It is awareness. Not judgment. Not self-criticism. Just awareness. Just noticing. Imagine you are walking through a dark room. You cannot see anything. You stumble into furniture. You bump into walls. You hurt yourself repeatedly. Then someone turns on a light. Suddenly you see everything clearly. The furniture is still there. The walls are still there. But now you can walk through the room without hurting yourself. Awareness is that light. It does not remove the obstacles. It simply allows you to see them so you can navigate around them. This is how we begin to change our speech. We turn on the light of awareness. We start noticing our words as we speak them. We notice the urge to gossip and pause. We notice the harsh word rising in our throat and take a breath. We notice the lie forming and choose truth instead. At first, we will fail often. We will speak before we notice. That is okay. The noticing itself is the practice. Every time you notice, even after the fact, you are strengthening the muscle of awareness. You are turning on the light a little earlier each time. Let me tell you a story about a man named Harold. Harold was a retired military officer. He had spent decades in an environment where direct, harsh commands were normal. When he retired and returned to civilian life, he brought that speech pattern with him. He spoke to his wife like she was a subordinate. He spoke to his children like they were recruits. He did not mean to be unkind. He simply did not notice. His speech was on autopilot, programmed by decades of habit. One day, his daughter confronted him. She was an adult now, with children of her own. She said, "Dad, do you realize you never speak to me without criticizing? Every conversation, you find something wrong. My job, my parenting, my house, my choices. I do not want to avoid you, but being with you hurts." Harold was stunned. He had no idea. He thought he was being helpful, offering constructive advice. He did not see that his words landed like blows. That conversation was Harold's light turning on. At first, it was painful. He saw the furniture he had been stumbling into for years. He saw the walls he had been hitting. He felt deep regret for the pain he had caused without meaning to. But he also felt something else. Hope. Because now that he could see, he could change. He started a simple practice. Every evening, he reviewed his conversations from the day. He asked himself 3 questions. Did I speak truthfully today? Did I speak kindly today? Did my words help or harm? He did not beat himself up for failures. He just noticed. And slowly, over months, his speech began to change. He caught himself before criticizing. He paused before responding. He learned to say, "I love you," instead of, "You should have done that differently." His relationships did not transform overnight, but they began to heal. The light of awareness, applied consistently, can soften even the hardest habits. Here is another story about awareness. A woman named Patricia worked in a busy office. Her workplace was filled with gossip. It was the culture there. At lunch, at coffee breaks, in the hallway, people talked about each other. Patricia participated without thinking. It was just what everyone did. One day, she heard a piece of gossip about herself. Something she had shared in confidence, twisted and repeated. She felt the sting of betrayal. She felt the heat of anger. And in that moment, she realized she had done the same thing to others, countless times, without ever feeling their pain. She decided to make a change. She did not announce it. She did not judge her colleagues. She simply stopped participating. When gossip started, she stayed silent. If someone asked her opinion, she said something neutral or changed the subject. At first, it was uncomfortable. Some colleagues thought she was being distant. But over time, something interesting happened. People started coming to Patricia when they had real problems. They trusted her because they knew she would not repeat their words. She became a safe place in an office full of sharp edges. Her silence, her mindful refusal to engage in divisive speech, created a small island of peace. And she got to live on that island. This is the gift of awareness in action. It does not require perfection. It only requires willingness. Willingness to notice. Willingness to pause. Willingness to choose differently, one moment at a time. The path of changing your speech is not a sprint. It is a gentle walk, taken step by step, breath by breath, word by word. Let us arrive together. Another breath. Feel the stillness that holds you, the presence that you are beneath all thinking, all speaking, all doing. We have explored the 4 poisons of speech, the power of intention, and the practice of awareness. Now we turn to something deeper. We turn to the opposite of unwholesome speech. We turn to the 4 beautiful qualities of speech that the Buddha encouraged. For every unwholesome speech, there is a wholesome alternative. Instead of lying, there is truthful speech. Instead of divisive speech, there is speech that unites. Instead of harsh speech, there is gentle speech. Instead of idle chatter, there is meaningful speech. These are not just nice ideas. They are practices. They are muscles you can develop. They are the path to a life of integrity and peace. Let us begin with truthful speech. Truthful speech is not just about avoiding lies. It is about being reliable. It is about being someone whose word can be trusted. When you say you will do something, you do it. When you cannot do something, you say so clearly. You do not exaggerate to impress. You do not minimize to avoid discomfort. You simply say what is true, as clearly and kindly as you can. There is a freedom in this that is difficult to describe until you experience it. The truthful person has nothing to remember. They do not need to keep track of what they said to whom. They do not need to maintain fictions. They move through the world lightly, because they are not carrying the weight of deception. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Irene. Irene was a financial advisor. Her industry was filled with smooth talkers, people who promised high returns and delivered low ones, who exaggerated their success to attract clients. Irene decided to do things differently. She told her clients the truth, even when it was uncomfortable. She told them when investments were risky. She told them when she made a mistake. She told them when she did not know something. For years, she watched colleagues with less integrity get more clients, make more money, receive more recognition. She wondered if she was doing the right thing. But slowly, something built. Her clients stayed with her. They referred their friends and family. When the market crashed and other advisors lost everything, Irene's clients trusted her because she had never lied to them about the risks. Her honesty, which had seemed like a disadvantage in the short term, became her greatest asset in the long term. She built her life on rock while others built on sand, and when the storms came, she was not washed away. Now consider speech that unites. This is the opposite of divisive speech. It is using your words to build bridges instead of walls. It is speaking well of people who are not present. It is reminding others of the good in someone when they are being criticized. It is being the person who brings harmony instead of drama. Here is a story about a man named Frank. Frank worked in a factory with a man everyone disliked. His name was Carl. Carl was difficult. He complained constantly. He did not do his share of the work. He blamed others for his mistakes. The other workers talked about Carl constantly. They mocked him. They plotted ways to get him fired. Frank joined in at first, because it was easier to go along. But one day, Frank learned something about Carl. Carl's wife had left him a year ago. His teenage son was in trouble with the law. He was sleeping on a friend's couch because he could not afford his own place. Carl was not difficult because he was evil. He was difficult because he was drowning, and he did not know how to ask for help. Frank started doing something different. When others complained about Carl, Frank said, "He is going through a hard time." He did not defend Carl's bad behavior, but he offered context. He reminded people of Carl's humanity. One day, Frank brought Carl a sandwich at lunch, just a small gesture. Carl looked at him with surprise, and for a moment, his hard exterior cracked. Frank did not save Carl. He did not fix his life. But he planted a seed of connection in a field of division. And that seed mattered. This is the power of uniting speech. It does not require grand gestures. It requires seeing the humanity in everyone, even those who make it difficult. It requires remembering that everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. And it requires speaking in a way that reflects that remembering. Gentle speech is next. This is the opposite of harsh speech. It is words spoken with kindness, even when delivering difficult truths. It is the difference between, "You are wrong," and, "I see it differently." It is the difference between, "That was stupid," and, "That did not work out the way you hoped." The information can be the same. The delivery changes everything. And finally, meaningful speech. The opposite of idle chatter. This does not mean you can never laugh or be light. It means your words have substance. They come from a genuine place. They are not just filler. They are not just noise to avoid silence. They are expressions of your true self. Imagine a world where everyone practiced these four qualities. Truthful speech, uniting speech, gentle speech, meaningful speech. That world would be a place of peace. And here is the secret. That world can exist, starting with you. It can exist in your home, in your workplace, in your relationships. It begins with one person choosing to speak differently. That person can be you. Let us arrive together one last time. Another breath. Feel the completeness of this moment, right here, right now. Nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be added. You are enough, exactly as you are. In our time together, we have traveled through the landscape of speech. We have explored the four poisons and their beautiful opposites. Now we come to the final teaching, the one that ties everything together. We come to compassion. Compassion is the heart of the Buddha's teaching. Not pity. Not feeling sorry for someone. Compassion is the ability to feel with another being, to sense their suffering as if it were your own, and to be moved to help. When compassion is present, unwholesome speech cannot survive. Why? Because you cannot intentionally harm someone you truly care about. Think about it. If your child is crying, do you speak harshly to them? If your best friend is suffering, do you gossip about them? If your partner is struggling, do you lie to them? Of course not. When compassion is present, our words naturally become kind, truthful, gentle, and meaningful. The problem is that compassion is not always present. It gets covered over by anger, by jealousy, by fear, by habit. The practice is not to create compassion where none exists. The practice is to uncover the compassion that is already there, buried beneath layers of conditioning. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Helen. Helen was a manager at a large company. She had an employee named Marcus who was constantly late, constantly making mistakes, constantly causing problems for the team. Helen tried everything. She warned him. She wrote him up. She threatened to fire him. Nothing worked. She grew to resent Marcus. She spoke about him with other managers in harsh, frustrated terms. She wanted him gone. One day, Marcus came to her office and asked if he could speak with her privately. He sat down, and for the first time, he did not look defensive or angry. He looked broken. He told her that his wife had been diagnosed with a serious illness 6 months ago. He was her only caregiver. He was working full-time, caring for her at night, and falling apart. He had not told anyone because he was ashamed. He was not a bad employee. He was a drowning man. Helen felt something shift inside her. All her frustration, all her harsh judgments, all her complaints to other managers, suddenly seemed small and cruel. She had been judging Marcus without knowing him. She had been speaking about him without understanding him. She had been adding to his suffering instead of easing it. From that day, Helen's speech about Marcus changed completely. When others complained about him, she said, "He is going through something difficult right now." She found ways to support him: flexible hours, reduced workload, a listening ear. Marcus did not become a perfect employee overnight, but he became a loyal one. He never forgot that Helen saw him as a human being when she could have seen him as a problem. This is compassion in action. It does not excuse harmful behavior. It does not mean you never set boundaries. It means you see the person behind the behavior. It means you remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. And it means you speak in a way that reflects that remembering. Here is another story. A Buddhist monk was once walking through a village when he came upon a group of children taunting a dog. The dog was old and scared, cowering in a corner while the children threw stones. The monk stepped between the children and the dog. He did not scold the children. He simply stood there, protecting the dog with his body. The children, seeing they could no longer reach the dog, eventually wandered away. The monk then knelt beside the trembling dog. He spoke to it in a soft, gentle voice. He did not preach to it about forgiveness. He did not tell it to stop being afraid. He just sat with it, offering his presence, until the dog's trembling slowly stopped. The dog looked at him, and in that look, there was something like gratitude. The monk had not changed the dog's circumstances. The dog was still old, still scared, still alone in the world. But for one moment, it had been seen. It had been met with compassion. And that changed everything. This is what your words can do. They can be the presence that meets another being in their suffering. They can be the shelter in the storm. They can be the reminder that no one is alone. Every time you choose kind speech over harsh speech, you are kneeling beside a trembling dog. Every time you choose truthful speech over lies, you are offering solid ground for someone to stand on. Every time you choose uniting speech over divisive speech, you are building a bridge across the gap of loneliness. Every time you choose meaningful speech over idle chatter, you are honoring the preciousness of this human life. And here is the deepest truth of all. When you offer this to others, you receive it yourself. Compassion is not a zero-sum game. It is not something you give away and therefore have less of. It is like a fire. When you light another person's candle from your own flame, your flame does not diminish. It grows brighter. Every kind word you speak illuminates your own heart as well as another's. Every act of compassionate speech makes you more compassionate. You become what you practice. So as we come to the end of our time together, I invite you to make a commitment. Not a big, dramatic commitment. Just a small one. For one day, Speak as if everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. For one day, let your words be a shelter. For one day, practice the 4 beautiful speeches. Truthful speech. Uniting speech. Gentle speech. Meaningful speech. Just for one day. See how it feels. See how the world responds. See how you feel about yourself at the end of that day. And if you stumble, if you fall back into old habits, do not despair. Do not judge yourself. Just notice. Just begin again. The path is always here. The next moment is always available. Your next word can always be a kind one. Thank you for your presence, your attention, your willingness to explore these depths. May your words be gardens. May your silences be deep wells of peace. May you be a refuge for yourself and for others. Until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you live with ease. Let us arrive together one last time. Another breath. Feel the completeness of this moment. Nothing is missing. You are enough, exactly as you are. We have explored the 4 poisons of speech and their beautiful opposites. Now we come to the final teaching. We come to compassion. Compassion is the heart of the Buddha's teaching. Not pity. Not feeling sorry for someone. Compassion is the ability to feel with another being, to sense their suffering as if it were your own. When compassion is present, unwholesome speech cannot survive. Why? Because you cannot intentionally harm someone you truly care about. Think about it. If your child is crying, do you speak harshly to them? Of course not. When compassion is present, our words naturally become kind, truthful, gentle, and meaningful. The practice is uncovering the compassion already there, buried beneath anger, jealousy, and fear. Let me tell you a story about Helen. She managed a man named Marcus who was always late, always making mistakes. She tried everything. Warnings, write-ups, threats. Nothing worked. She resented him. She spoke about him harshly with other managers. She wanted him gone. One day, Marcus came to her office. He looked broken, not defensive. He told her his wife had been diagnosed with a serious illness 6 months ago. He was her only caregiver. Working full-time, caring for her at night, falling apart. He was too ashamed to tell anyone. Helen felt something shift. All her harsh judgments suddenly seemed cruel. She had been judging Marcus without knowing him. Speaking about him without understanding him. Adding to his suffering instead of easing it. From that day, her speech changed completely. When others complained, she said, "He is going through something difficult." She found ways to support him. Flexible hours. A listening ear. Marcus never forgot that Helen saw him as human when she could have seen him as a problem. This is compassion. It does not excuse harmful behavior. It means seeing the person behind it. Remembering that everyone fights battles you know nothing about. Speaking in a way that reflects that remembering. Here is another story. A monk once found children taunting an old, scared dog, throwing stones at it. He stepped between them and the dog. He did not scold. He just protected the dog with his body. The children eventually wandered away. The monk knelt beside the trembling dog. He spoke softly, gently. He did not preach. He just sat with it, offering presents, until the trembling stopped. The dog looked at him with something like gratitude. For one moment, it had been seen. Met with compassion. That changed everything. This is what your words can do. Be the presence that meets another in their suffering. Be the shelter in the storm. Every kind word you speak illuminates your own heart as well as another's. You become what you practice. So as we end, make a small commitment. For one day, speak as if everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. For one day, let your words be a shelter. Practice truthful speech. Uniting speech. Gentle speech. Meaningful speech. Just for one day. And if you stumble, do not despair. Just notice. Begin again. The path is always here. Your next word can always be a kind one. Thank you for being here at Monk's Moon Temple. May your words be gardens. May your silences be deep wells of peace. Until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you live in peace.